Welcome. Welcome to our Wednesday webinar series. Today our topic is creating safety for the divine feminine to emerge. Last week, we did our process which was that balancing the inner masculine and feminine. And we recognized in the sharing that there was a need to create safety. What we're really working toward here is creating that space for the divine feminine to emerge. Our world is at a crossroads right now where the sacred feminine, the true sacred feminine, to come and take its space in the world, in its fullness and in its light, is really needed in order to shepherd the humanity through the transition that it is going through right now. Right, there is a Native American proverb that says the highest calling of the woman is to lead the man to his soul so as to unite him with source. The highest calling of the man is to protect the woman so she is free to walk the earth unharmed. And when you look at that on the perspective of the collective consciousness, and just what the divine feminine is, what the sacred feminine is, it is that place of being, that place of really, that we connect to when we go into meditation, which we'll do a little intro meditation in a minute. And, it is that place that we go to that place of inner stillness, that place of being, that place where we really connect with source and receive the sacred wisdom, where we receive the insights and the intuition, and where we really fill our cups. And, we fill ourselves with the guidance and with the things that are really needed to connect and to really align with the greater good for all. And that masculine, what is the divine masculine? The divine masculine is it is a very sacred presence. And that divine masculine is that which moves out into the world to act, which is in action, that penetrates the world, that moves out. And it's like when we merge the two, it's that state of being that can be protected by the state of doing and move out. So you move as one. So as you're acting in the world, as you're taking action, as you're doing the things that you're here to do, you're coming from your being, from who you're here to be. And you move as one. And in order for the collective of humanity to make its return and to make that evolution, as the sacred feminine really stands and holds that place of connection, that place of centering, that communion with source, it makes the space for the masculine to come and make that return to unify in source. It makes that space for the two to come together and to act as one in the world. Really, as we're acting from that place of sacred connection. So that's what our mission is in doing these. I think I'll speak for myself, end goal in doing these webinars is that we all come to recognize that and to embody it. But as Wadad said in the last webinar that we did, is that in order to heal, we have to feel safe. And there's so much wounding that so many of us carry around the feminine that has, it just makes it hard to feel safe. And until we feel safe, it makes it hard to heal and really step into and embody that sacred feminine that our world so desperately needs us to hold right now, and that we need to hold, because it's our pathway and our healing as well. So today, that's what led us to take a detour from what we originally said we were going to do last week, to spend some time on creating safety for the sacred feminine, the divine feminine, to emerge. That's what we're here for today. So again, if you don't have your pen and paper, get that handy. And I'm going to lead us on just a brief meditation to bring us into that place of going inward that place of connection and communion. So let's take a moment and just feel your body. Before we get started, just feel your body and feel your physical body and feel your energy body. And just from a state of inquiry, not trying to judge anything or change anything, but just notice, like, does your physical body and your energy body feel like they're in the same place? Just notice, because sometimes when we're busy, our energy body is way ahead of our physical body, like out there getting it done. The physical body's like, wait for me, right? And so just notice how you feel. Sometimes if we're in that place where we feel like we just want to shrink and hide, then the energy body's back behind, hiding behind the physical body, right? Or sometimes when we get, in our, I'm going to call it woo-woo states, the energy body can really just expand out and be way out there, and physical body is here. So just notice how you experience your physical body and where you experience your energy body. And it's information. Nothing wrong or right or good or bad or anything like that, just information. And so let's take a minute now and just kind of rub your hands together and get a little energy flowing through your palms. And then place your palms over your heart center. So that center of your palm, where that energy is the strongest, goes right over the very center of your chest space, where your heart center, you can probably feel when you put your hands there, feel where it makes that connection to that energy in your heart. Well, let's just take some breaths and breathe into the space just beneath your hands. And just take a minute and focus on your breath. Just let yourself, like with each inhale, draw your conscious body into your physical space. Invite it in if it wants to come, if it's ready. And as you exhale, just let yourself sit into your hips. Feel your presence in your hips and in your pelvic bowl. And kind of lean into your very center, kind of leaning into that space just in front of your spine. And just spend a few minutes breathing there. And kind of make an intention that place in your center, like in the center of your body, and it centers on your heart. It's the center of wisdom and of the true center of knowledge is in your heart space. And just take some breaths into there and let yourself just feel that connection in with that inner wisdom, inner knowledge. And lean into that space. Just take some breaths and just invite your body to really rest into your physical space. Inhale, drawing your energy into your core, the core of your body. And as you exhale, drop down, land into your pelvic bowl, lean into this very center of your body, bringing your heart center to connect with that inner wisdom, that core wisdom. that core knowledge. And let's feel ourselves all in one big circle, connected together, connected with each other, connected with pure divine light and unconditional love as it fills our space. The divine safety, the divine protection. As we just open ourselves with loving, gentle honesty to explore what's moving in our hearts and in our bodies and uh, in our psyche. I'm going to turn it over to Wadad to lead us on a process today.
Hello, beloveds. So, if you are new to me, I'll just say really quick I'm a performing songwriter who met a spiritual master along the way. And I went to him as I was going further in my spiritual studies, and I asked him, what else could I do? And he said, teach. So I teach voice, I still do performing songwriting, and a lot of healing work to my clients. And so, as we start today, I have two questions for you before we go into our process. The first is I want you to, in the space of grounding that Deborah just so beautifully guided us into, I want you to tap in to your divine feminine. And I want you to just feel this part of your being. Check in and trust what you get. You can write this down if you want. Last week, when we were really exploring what is the divine feminine, um, a lot of answers came back that people felt anxiety, they felt vulnerable, and they didn't feel safe. Um, and then we also asked, what is the divine masculine and the relationship between them? It might be a class that we bring back because it was so profound for so many people. But right now, tap into the divine feminine within you and check in. How is it doing? How is it feeling? Do you have some feelings of unsafety, of vulnerability? And I'm just going to give you just a couple seconds here. Just drop into that part of you. And if you weren't with us last week, you can also write down some ideas of like, oh, my divine feminine is this. It's soft, it's strong, it's sturdy, it's hiding. Just kind of explore it for a couple seconds here. And take a deep breath and just check in. Is there anything else? And there's going to be time for you to write down lots more. Don't worry. I'm sometimes a teacher that moves too slow for some people and too fast for others. So don't worry. We're going to fill in the blanks for you if I'm moving too fast or too slow. My next question for you, and this is sort of a existential question and an everyday question. I want you to check into your heart and ask, what is safety? Is safety contingent upon outside factors? Where you live, what you do, if you're strong enough to fight for yourself, to defend yourself, or is it something inside? And just write down what comes to you. What is safety? What is safety? And you might notice the first thoughts that come to you have a certain quality. And then as you sit with it a little bit more, They might take on a deeper quality. Just write everything down that comes to you. And we'll spend a little time exploring that. So I'm going to give you a small teaching before I guide us through hopefully a process of deep illumination and healing. I met my spiritual teacher when I was in my 20s, super fiery and stubborn and curious. And this path was so deep. Like, I think of my spiritual teacher, we lovingly called CD as sort of like a living Yoda. And I really wanted to be good, right? I was hitting a lot of my cultural pictures of what it means to be a woman. And so I got really quiet and I got really docile. You know, I'm a communicator and a performing songwriter. And so there was almost like some part of my heart got cut off, but I didn't know that it was because I was trying to be what I thought sacred was. And so as I started to explore in the community, I'm like 1 year into studying the spiritual path. And I went to my teacher, CD, because I was really triggered by a teacher, someone in a leadership position, someone in a position of power. And I just felt like I could not surrender. I couldn't follow what this teacher was asking of me. And I really thought, you know, I was going to come to my living Yoda and he was going to say, oh, Widad, you need to let go and you need to open your heart and you just need to like trust. But he didn't do that. And it was really hard for me to go to him and say like, I don't feel good about this. But I just thought he was going to say change, that I needed to change. And he didn't. He looked at me and the first thing he said was like, who is this teacher that's telling you to do these things? And of course, like I grew up in the world of like, don't tattle. And I was like, well, nobody. And he was like, my love, who is this? And I told him who I was, you know, struggling with. And he said, oh, I have talked to this teacher and I've told them not to do these things. And I was shocked. Like, I remember like my whole being stopped because the first thought I had was like, you mean I'm right? Like, you mean I'm not wrong in this moment? Because I grew up not really being listened to that much as a woman in my cultural family. And when he said, oh, you know, I've talked to them, they shouldn't do this. And then he said, you need to talk to him. You need to talk to this leader. And I froze. I was like, no. Like, isn't it your job to like keep the teachers in line? Like, I'm not gonna, like, I'm like 24. I'm not gonna speak to this leader. And then my body started to shake. You know that saying where people say, speak the truth even if you're shaking? This happened to me so much early on in my path because part of it was that I needed to learn to trust my divine feminine. I needed to trust that what was coming forth was a guidance system that was going to protect me. But I just would stuff it away and I wouldn't speak up and I wouldn't speak the truth. And so I said to CD, I was shocked and I was like, and he just saw the look on my face. I didn't even say another word. And he said, my love, the truth protects you. And I remember thinking, you don't know what it's like to be a woman in this world. The truth does not protect me. And he said it again. Now remember, he was like my living Yoda. So he says it and it just like comes through me like this transmission. And I have sat, beloveds, I have sat with that teaching for so many years because when he said to me, the truth protects you, my first thought was, I will speak the truth as I know it and I will be fine. And that wasn't always the case. Sometimes my truth would come with a lot of judgment or a lot of fire or a lot of like, you're wrong and I'm right. And people would react to that, even if what I was saying was true. So, a year later, I bring it back to the drawing board. The truth protects you. The truth protects you. What does that mean? What does that really mean? And year after year, I would come back and I would come back. And one of the offerings I want you to feel, if you can, is that there is within you a deep truth. And when you can listen to it, when you can get deep enough to hear it, it will guide you. And that truth will protect you. But that's the journey, right? I needed to keep purifying to understand, what is that truth? And each one of you is perfect and unique. And your journey is to know yourself so deeply that through all the field trips of life, you begin to trust that truth again and learn how it speaks to you. So let's go back to our questions, right? What is the divine feminine? What is safety? When we go through moments of feeling unsafe or anxiety or panic or any of these things, and they're really up in our world right now, there's such a deep awakening that it's like pulling the Band-Aid off, and we're all seeing how deep the wound is. And so the first step, and we're going to put this in the chat when we're all done with this process, but you can write this down. Your first step to help bring you to safety when you're feeling imbalanced, when you feel anxiety, when you feel unsafe, that first step is to clarify. So let's think of a moment maybe that you did feel unsafe, or if you were with us last week, you can bring back how you felt about the divine feminine if there was like a vulnerability and you wanted to protect it or you felt unsafe. So the first step is in clarification is to really check in. What is it that you're feeling? So right now, let's go into the heart and clarify. Now, this can be like existential feelings of unsafety, like a low grade something you feel all the time, or it's a part of your consciousness that's kind of always there humming underneath everything. You can check into that right now. Or if there's an acute moment that you felt recently, check in and say, what is it that you're feeling? Is it anxiety? Is it fear? Is it that you're not safe? Is it just a unrest or an irritation? And just write that down, and you can come back to any of these steps as we move through. Now, the second step is to assess. Just as I was saying, we're going to assess, is this moment of unsafety an emergency? So maybe you're walking to your car and you get those bad vibes and you're like, this is an emergency. I need to do whatever I need to do. I'm in a situation that requires my attention right now. For the purposes of tonight, we're going to use the assess and then our next steps as if this is not an emergency, as if we're really going to dig deep into understanding what safety is. But the unsafety that maybe is in there, or vulnerability or anxiety, I want you to assess it right now. Is this something that's old? If there's a place that doesn't feel safe, did this like come in when you were really young? Is this from your ancestors? For a lot of women, we can trace this back through the lineage of women that we have come from. Is this unsafety more recent? Maybe it's, couple things happened to you in the last 10 years of your life and it's making you feel general sense, right? Just assess where it is maybe in your body and how old is this? When did this come in? And we're just going to take a couple minutes with this to sit with. You got your first step, clarify, second step, assess. And as you're doing this, just try to stay relaxed into your heart. In the process of assessment, this is what you would do in a healing. We really want to find out where are the roots of this tree so we can bring it attention and love. And so that's our work, is to really surround what we're feeling with total compassion. Like we're just kind of, I'm curious. I see that. I witnessed that. And we're just going to hold space right now. Now, when we're bringing ourselves back to safety, the next step is to realize, or the realization. So the big realization is we have tools. We're going to share these tools with you right now. So we've gotten some clarification. We're assessing where this comes from. Now, as we go through the tools, for me, as somebody who has a lot of anxiety in my family, and I had a mom with a lot of anxiety, I was always like kind of facilitating for other people. And when I started to learn this healing work, it was the first time that I could go, wait a minute, how do I care for my own anxiety, my own fears? And the first step always is to breathe. I used to work in a theater company, and we would teach children how to step outside of violence. And we gave them this song that said, stop 2, 3, think 2, 3, no wait, stop 2, 3, breathe 2, 3, think your way to sense. And it was this rhyme, and they went through it. And I think about it all the time. It's like the stop is to go, what's happening? And then breathe. So right now, what I want you to do, close your eyes, and I want you to breathe beyond anxiety, breathe beyond the fear, breathe beyond any feelings of unsafety, like you have roots that are reaching down into the earth. Breathe all the way down, and then breathe out with a sigh. And I want you to do this again. Deep breath slowly into your belly, into the earth, through your feet. And this time, hiss on the way out. Another deep breath in, and you can sigh. Now, the point of this is we want to get you back into your body. So for some of us, this might be, we saw something on TikTok, we saw something on the news, we saw something on Facebook, and we're instantly unsafe. And you can see like the fight or flight kicks in, your breath moves into your upper lungs. We're trying to counteract that. So we're going to stop, assess, is this an emergency? No, breathe. And the slower you make your breath, the more you get into your body. So right now, if you have to take another breath, go ahead. And as you breathe out, I want you to feel yourself in your body. You're here on this earth, you're in this room, you're in this space. Now, these 3 tools, you're stopping, you're breathing, you're getting into your body. Now, the third step, depending on where you are, is to make sound or movement. So if all of a sudden that fear comes in and you're tight, right? You're bracing. This happens so much when I'm teaching voice. We don't always know we're bracing, right? And it usually happens in the shoulders and it happens in the chest. So we take that breath in and we move. So right now, when you take that breath in, when you breathe out, I want you to just wiggle your shoulders, wiggle your torso, wiggle whatever. So I'm just going to go. Because I'm a singer, I like the movement and the voice together. Highly recommend. This is so great. And so what we're going to do is we're going to breathe, 1, into your belly. 2, you're going to make a low sound in your vocal range. So it might be, your mouth is just open a little bit and you're just going to shake it off, right? Shake your shoulders, shake your torso, whatever it is. So I'm going to lead, join in, low part of your resonance to start. So everyone take an easy breath in and let it out first. All right, now take a slow breath in. Sound and movement on the way out. Breathe in and feel your body. Feel your body. With each breath and movement, you should start to feel an opening, a deeper place to get beyond the unsafety, even before we start asking for answers, right? We're centering ourselves. We're getting out of that fight or flight breath, right? So let's take an easy breath in again. Let it out. Centering yourself, feeling your body. Now this next one, you're going to use the highest pitch that you've got. So hopefully you feel comfy in your space. So this one, you're going to do like a, whoo. So it's like, think hootie owl. Whoo, 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 whoo. But you're going to use a high note. So we're going to use the high pitch. We're exploring what is going to help you center. Is it the low pitch that helps you center? Is it the high pitch? And what you're looking for is something that's just like shaking off that tension out of your body and out of your nervous system. So let's take a slow breath in. We're going to breathe out with that high note and movement at the same time. So easy breath all the way into the ground. Breathing out with a high note. Now I did a siren, which you could just hold that top note. Here's a little secret I'm going to give all of you. When I do my sound healings, there is a frequency that is holding your tension, and it's different for everybody. For some reason, the high notes might set one person free and the low notes might set another person free. Trust how your body is moving and releasing that tension. So this time, do whatever sound works for you. We're going to breathe in one more time, going to shake your body. If it helps for you to stand up and just like shake everything, do this. And when you're doing this process at home, you can go through all these steps in 2 minutes. So we're dragging this out, but 2 minutes you can do this to get yourself centered. All right, so easy breath in, let it out. We're going to breathe in, sound and movement, whatever recipe you like. Each deep breath into the floor. Breathing out with sound. Now dropping in. Feel your body. Now I want you to get underneath the feelings of unsafety. Go beyond the fear. Go deeper than your vulnerability. We're dropping into your guidance now. We've made room. Go deeper into your heart and listen. You're in a state of receiving. Breathe and move as you need to, but drop back into the heart and listen. Listen with the cells of your body, as if your whole body was a receptor. Listen with every cell. And just keep coming back to your heart. If you get distracted, just drop back into your heart. If you get pulled out, use that breath, use the movement and sound. Coming into the heart, I want you to ask from the deepest part of you, what is your teaching right now in this moment about safety? Where does safety really come from? And what is creating safety for you? And trust your heart, trust your guidance system. What is safety? And now I want you to go even deeper. Open your heart. Go beyond the ideas of right and wrong and who you are. And remember the teaching, the truth protects you. What is your truth? What is the truth? And again, trust what comes to you. You can write this down if you don't want to forget. We'll come back. But what is the truth? And how does it protect you? Breathe through any tears, any tension, any fears, and keep coming back to your heart. Good. And just to kind of bring you through these beautiful steps, you started by clarifying. You then went to assessing, got a little deeper, got into those tools to realize that we can stop and breathe and get underneath it. And then when we get underneath it, what is the guidance? So you've got these answers. What is safety? What is your truth? What is your guidance that your heart is giving you as we move through the rest of tonight that you want to hold on to? Maybe it's a secret little love note from your heart to you to help you remember. Beautiful. And take a breath and just come back to the space. As I was saying, sometimes this process will feel fast, sometimes it will feel slow. You are always welcome to reach out to either of us. Habib is not with us, but any of us. If you need to explore something more, if you got stuck at a step and you couldn't get past it, that's okay. It's exactly what happens when we really start to heal and go deeper. But I'm going to hand it over to Mastura to take us on the next step of our journey.
Thank you so much, Wadad. Uh, wow. I'm back.
That's the best testimonial. If we could write that on an. Uh,
Yes, exactly. That was beautiful for me. And, we're going to open up for sharing in a few minutes here. Um, and so, we want to hear your ahas and insights. And, as Wadad said, that we're here. You're welcome to reach out to any of us, Habiba included. And I dropped a link in the chat of how you can reach out to us and just get on our calendar, whichever one you choose, for just a 30-minute consult, in whatever way we can support you there. Wadad, that was beautiful. And I thank you so much for that uh, guidance and for that place. I uh, I'm thinking whether to go into sharing or whether to go into, it occurs to me that at the beginning, I neglected to introduce myself and tell you who I am. And so I think it's appropriate to take a minute to do that now. I I'm in the final stages of writing and launching a book called Fear, Food, and Feminine Power. And the book really addresses our fears that are so many of our fears are ingrained into our psyche. It comes through the ancestral. It comes through our life experiences. It's a part of the cosmic soup that we swim in, and the programming that just gets imprinted into our energy bodies and into our cellular consciousness as we are born into this world as women. It's just a part of the conditioning and very much a part of things that we carry forward. But it is not a hopeless thing. And it's actually, we have incredible opportunities for healing, especially things from our ancestral, from the lineage. It's like, we have opportunities to heal things that we are carrying forward that our ancestors were not in a position to heal. Right? We're in a different place with it. We're in a different environment with some of the things that we carry. So we have an opportunity to let that come forward so that we can heal it, and as I say, we heal for the generations backwards and the generations forwards when we bring these things to light and to really bring them into healing. So the book talks about that. It talks about, what I mentioned at the introduction, that, we, in addition to, yes, we have all of these fears, we are also, very many of us, and it might not be you, but very many of us are conditioned to self-soothe with food because it works. There's a lot of things that food really gives us that is very nurturing and nourishing and calming and pacifying and numbing and everything else, soothing. And so we self-soothe with food, and then we wrestle with all of, whether it's health issues, digestive issues, or body image issues, or, the comforts or discomforts in our bodies, and all of the societal messages that tell us that we're supposed to look a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain way. This, the double bind of society that says, well, you're supposed to be this way, but then, you're supposed to be this way. And if you it's just a whole conundrum, right? So all of these things get us into that feeling unsafe. But here's the good news is that you live in a body that has incredible innate wisdom. And as Wadad was guiding us through this process today, this is the first 3 steps of a 7-step healing process that is outlined in the book to clarify, assess, and then realize. And part of that realization is that you do have tools and that your body is speaking to you all the time, right? So how you use these tools, it's like your body has an incredible navigation system. And a lot of times we just feel a reaction and we go into this feeling of, I'm broken, right? There's something wrong with me because my body is reacting in this way that feels very uncomfortable. But if we start to really get comfortable in our bodies or feel our bodies, recognize you have a heart that is, yes, your heart holds emotions, but emotions are actually incredible wisdom that tell you about that deep inner knowing inside of you, and what that deep inner knowing is telling you about what's happening outside yourself, right? That deep inner knowing is just saying, hey, there's something here, listen to me, right? And you also have, you have a brilliant mind that has insights and awakening. You have intuition. You have, your physical body and the sensations and all of your senses. All of these things are giving you information all of the time. And when we learn to tune in and listen to that, it's just like a wow experience. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not broken. My body has incredible wisdom, and it's giving me this information that's really leading me to, in addition to the innate wisdom that is a part of my existence, it's leading me to that knowledge and that wisdom of the heart that is completely connected with the all that is, with the greater good, with the higher light, with the divinity within, however you want to call that. It's your deepest knowledge, your deepest wisdom. It's your truth. And that is like, when you learn to listen to that, it's like, there's 4 more steps of really taking that into recognizing your inner knowledge, your inner wisdom, and who that calls you to be. Because what we talked about is the divine feminine, that sacred feminine, is that place where you go to commune with source, where you go to be, and you receive this wisdom, you receive this download, you feel yourself in your body as who you are created to be, with all of your brilliance and intelligence and everything. And so, and then, you go on to really assimilate that through all the layers of your being and embody it, and then really recognize your sovereignty. It's, that's the where the rest of the healing process takes you. So it's a beautiful process, and just a lot of unraveling of all of these things along the way that this process takes you through. And so we are getting prepared for as soon as we figure out what the date of the book launch is, because it keeps getting extended a little bit. But we are going to be having a master class where we're really busting some of the myths about what the feminine is, and coming into that, just shedding that old stuff. And we're also going to be doing a 12-week deep dive healing program to go through the whole process and really come into that embodiment of the truth of who you are, assimilating that through the layers of your being, and really standing in your sovereignty. Sovereignty meaning that you're free from the pulls of the world and how they pull you off center and pull you, all of the things that are telling you that you are or you aren't one thing or another, or you're supposed to be or you're not supposed to be one thing or another. The world is full of those messages that we've all internalized. We've all internalized some messages around that. So, it's that's the process that is taking you through. So we'll share a link on how you can sign up for that as well, if you're ready to sign up for that. It's but I'll also want to say, Wadad just put it in the chat. Thank you. Wadad, I'll move into to my share, and I'll tell you what. Before I do that, I want to link back to a couple of things that came up last week that I think are really helpful in as tools. If I can add to what you gave us last week, I believe it was last week, where, some of you shared mantras that you use, where you just, like recognition, that first step of getting clarity. Oh, wait a minute. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Is this an emergency? Do I need to fight or flight right now? Or can I breathe into this? Can I just take this moment and be present in my body? And, just doing those first 2 steps, when you recognize, okay, I don't need to defend myself right now. I am okay. I can tap into my body and take this space. That's when you have the tools. So a mantra, one of the mantras that I like, or one of the things I like to do, is to actually use my hands and feel my body. Just like take your like right hand on your left shoulder and squeeze down your arm and say, I am. The mantra that I like is, I am light, I am love, I am safe, I am home. And just to continue to feel, I am light, I am love, I am safe, I am home, and feel like, yes, this is my body. I am home in this body, and then on your head and neck and down your sides, your back, your belly, then through your hips, down your legs, to your feet, just, feel your body. Yeah, this is my body. I am home. I am light. I am love. I am safe. I am home. I am home in this body and I am safe. And that's one of a mantra that I like to use. And when we open for sharing, if you have one that you like to use, then we'll invite you to share that as well, because we're all here to learn from each other. The other thing that I find helpful, especially if you've experienced trauma in your body, that or in your past, direct trauma that will have you perhaps tending to dissociate, right? Sometimes the safest thing we were able to do in the midst of the trauma from our past was to leave the body. If you have that and you tend to like shoot out when something startles you, one of the things that you can do is, like, I have this right here, is a pendant that is very dear to me. If you have like, it can be like even a stone, or something small that you can hold in your hand, that you can carry in your pocket, where it can be like, you can designate this with your intention as your reminder that, okay, this is going to remind me that I am safe and that I am in my body and that I am connected, and to just like, if you don't have that with you, like, look outside the window, see the tree, and say, okay, I am here. I am safe. I see the natural world here, right? I see the nature. The calls of nature, like, we embody the rhythms of nature, you know? So we embody the rhythms of nature, and we can like just say, okay, let me just connect with that tree. That tree is rooted and grounded in the earth, and I am too. I am a part of that tree. I'm not separate from that tree. I am a part of nature too. And just, like, have something that you designate as, this is going to remind me that I'm safe and bring me back home. It's safe to be home right now in my body. And so, that's just two things I wanted to add to that as tools that we can remember, kind of bringing us back into the body.
You could create one tonight. If something was healing for you tonight, you can infuse that with what you experienced tonight, and that could be like a little reminder for you, whatever that is.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and if you want to have a reminder, like a mantra with the object, yeah, with a stone or something, and just remember that, like, when you touch that, how they have those stones that have the thing written on them. They have the things inscribed on them. Maybe you get one of those and pick one that's got a message on it for you, and you just hold that and say, I am safe. I am home. I am in my body. I'm okay. Sometimes just that word, I'm okay, because that really covers such a broad spectrum of I'm okay. Um, yeah, you can dissociate like it's your full time job. I hear you. Um, yeah, grounding with what you can see and feel in the present is very helpful. Yes, so true. Thank you. All right, and so we'll open for sharing, and if you want to raise your hand or just unmute yourself, you're welcome to share. I'll share while we're waiting for the next person, because what really came up for me, Widad, and that it was that awe was a very authentic and appropriate response, because it was, it's just like, it really took me to a place of, what is safe is really like, what is authenticity?
Mm.
What is authenticity like? And that feeling of I am okay. I am okay no matter where I am or what I'm feeling or experiencing in the moment. Like I'm okay. And, I can be in the authenticity of whatever that is. And I can like just tap in and tune in and receive. Even like you don't have to heal first
Yeah.
before you can receive. Like I can be in that and just receive and know that I'm okay. And whether it is like in my pain or in my wounds or in my gifts and in my brilliance, like all of it is okay. And you're never separate, never not connected. So I can fill up.
Mm.
All right. So anyone want to share? We'd love to hear what your experiences are, and you're welcome to come on screen with us if you like, or if not, that's okay too. Terry, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to share?
Sure.
Okay, let me bring you
Um,
on. Where'd you go?
I don't know.
Oh, there you are. You want to here you want me to bring you on? And then we'll
Sure.
get to you, Carol. Okay, here you go.
Okay. Thank you. I am sorry that I missed the first part, but it was the ending of a class that I've been in for more than 12 weeks. It needed to culminate, and
Mm-hmm.
I had a huge um breakthrough in this journey. So I wanted to honor that, um and then also just to touch on what you had shared about tools. I went to sit in the park and with my back against a tree and
Mm.
was doing a meditation on the ground. Um, and noticed that when I get centered, even now, my body will start to sway when I remember. Um, when this first happened, I didn't know what that movement was because part of me is like, I'm not moving my body. What is that? And by just asking the question, what what is causing that sway was the heartbeat of the mother.
Mm.
And so it was, I could imagine in my mind's eye the wind blowing across prairies, with the long grasses and the feel of the ocean wave after wave. um I had a moment where I was reminded. Um, I was 3, I was in Scotland, and I was running behind my 2 older sisters because they were much faster. And, one of those moments with children, I don't know where the idea was born from, but in the center of this open, beautiful green glen was one lone tree standing in the center. We would run to that because it was the wishing tree.
Oh, nice.
And so when we got there, and of course I was quite a bit behind because I was much littler, we would put our arms around the tree, and it had a red fuzzy bark, so it was soft to hold. And we would hug the tree and then make a little wish and hold a little piece of that bark and tightly squeeze our eyes, and with our heart we'd make a wish and throw it over our shoulder.
Cool.
I don't know what my little 3-year-old heart would wish for, but that I remembered viscerally a time when I could wish
Mm.
before this really traumatic moment happened, and I stopped
Mm.
believing in wonder or childhood, and I couldn't wish. Um but to go to a place when I could. And so while I was sitting with this tree against me, I looked down on the ground. There were little pieces of bark. And I thought, oh, I'm how lovely. It's a different tree, but I have a little box. And I
Oh,
put
cool.
my wishes in the box.
Nice.
Little blank pieces of so that I could wish again. It was like a part of me felt safe, that I had done enough healing and enough work that it's okay now to remember. It's
Mm-hmm.
so that the trauma was behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And so those little talismans or connection to nature or a
Mm-hmm.
stone,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had placed a beautiful white stone that looked like an egg in the middle of my circle and a few other things. And when I went back to it the next day, it was gone. And
Oh,
I was, that held a place for me that I was birthing something into the world. And it didn't matter if somebody came and plucked it or thought it beautiful, but it wasn't there anymore. Or if
yeah.
it, in my imagination, if it was birthed. And so,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
it was no longer in physical form. And so, um, go, yeah, find
Maybe it went
ways
to
to
gift someone
connect.
else in the way that it gifted
Exactly.
you.
Exactly. So thank you for touching my heart. I wish it was recorded so that I could um, hear what you shared. But last week was really beautiful for me, and I'm glad I caught the tail end.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, Terry. Okay, so let's go to Carol. Let me find Carol. And Carol, is it okay to?
I'm not doing camera. I just don't feel camera-ish.
Okay, then we'll just hear you.
Yeah. Um, I mean, a couple things. One is with the voice guidance, the voice and movement. I was surprised to discover that the pitch of voice that was most releasing to me mentally was the high pitch.
Mhm.
I'm usually prone to going to the low pitch, the chest area humming thingy.
Mhm.
The high pitch was the one that was like sort of opened some doors. And I may do both, like high pitch, low pitch, in between pitch, and move around. But to discover the high pitch impact was really good and surprising. And I did wonder, when you talk about being safe and talk about, looking at nature and aligning with it or holding something in our hand, as Deborah was saying, or I may be mixing up who said what, but sometimes I can do that. But I experience in recent times of my life, and maybe longer than recent, maybe, if you figure I'm 68, recent could be a big hunk of time. It might not be like a week, it might be like multiple years, or it might be a decade, and still be recent. Similar to what Terry was saying about having forgotten how to wish. I feel like I have forgotten how to wish also, and how to believe things are possible, because the reversals and disappointments have been too pervasive, and my ability to rise above them, my cognition, perception, psyche, even though I was much more powerful in earlier years, into my 40s, 50s, I feel really disempowered at this time. Early trauma, but equally recent, just deep disappointment, trauma, repeating life patterns that are just so darn bleak. Dashed hopes, dashed hopes. So I will find myself I might be feeling really angry and negative, really pissed off at certain people for repeated shit, or disappointments or failures, and then I'll think about spiritual stuff, like, oh no, you're not supposed to be really pissed, or you're supposed to be loving and above it all. And I'm so angry, but I'm supposed to be loving. And then how do I get into that holy all is well space, which it may not be well. Maybe on a certain level it is, but on another level it's far from well. And I don't have the answers to wellify it. or even like the brain waves. But that by that high pitched sound cleared my brain. It did. It created some space that brought some mental rewiring, connecting during the time, which was really cool. But what I'm trying to say is there are times when I want to get up and do things, but I'm more like catatonic. You know, I want to wish, but what I'm feeling is just like offline or angry or whatnot. So I don't know how to, when life really doesn't feel safe in the big picture, and I don't have the answers for the changes I wish to make, and I don't feel the power I have felt before. It must still exist, but how do I navigate this? Because I'm not a fake it till you make it person.
I
I'm
have
not,
a question for you, Carol.
I
When
want to feel safe authentically, to be safe, to rise up. Yeah.
Quick question. So when you used the sound and the movement, when we got to the step of guidance and we were asking about safety and truth, did that pop you back into your struggle, or did you feel a sense of guidance there?
It, it didn't take me further along the road. Let's say that.
Okay.
Because once I start to say, and the answer is, the answer isn't. But the moment of the vibration, and sometimes just experiencing the potential, the possibility of that vibration, is
Yeah.
very cool. But I would really like, the safety thing matters a hell of a lot to me in my life now, both physically, financially, spiritually, aspirationally. It really matters. I don't want to fake it, but finding it and rising above the catatonic, deep disappointment, fatigue, brain, more than fog, whatever's denser than fog. There must be some soup, brain soup. So I said a lot of stuff. There was power in that high voice, but there's a lot of questions about safety. And yes, I can be in this very moment and feel safe, but when I open my eyes and I'm not focusing on that sound or focusing on that place, but I'm like seeing my life again, I don't feel safe. And I don't want to bullshit myself, but I want to authentically be safe. There's a question in that, there's a lot of statements, but there you go.
Yeah.
You know, can I share something with Al? Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I'll just finish my thought and hand it
Okay.
back to you. I love that there was a little crack with the sound and the high pitch. That's kind of like a starting off point, and to just keep honoring that. And I love that you're honoring where you are. Like that's the truth. Like honoring where we are, that's the truth we start at. And to sometimes we're just cleaving to the smallest little thing that works and then staying with that for longer amounts of time and seeing how that builds. But yeah, I love that it worked. I love that it started to open something and that it surprised you, because it surprises me too. Sometimes the different pitches, I'm like, oh, that one feels really good. And I might hang out there for 5 or 10 minutes. And we didn't have that for tonight, but I might do that for a longer amount of time when it just is feeling good in my own body. All right, I'll hand it to you, Master.
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing. It's like, because sometimes just making a pitch that is not like in your normal range, that, is just something that's different. It like pops you out of that, like that rhythm. That's where that story lives, that rhythm where your past has ingrained itself into this is my way. It's like changing that pitch into something that's very different from your norm, from your, like that average place where you live, can pop you out of it. And when it does, then it's like, oh, you can start to see things a little differently, or, it does, as you said, it rewires. And so I would encourage you to like stay with that longer, like what Odd said, even 5 minutes, and just to see what else gets rewired. If there's something like how far that can take you. As there is, yes, being with what's true for you, and then recognizing that, oh, this was also true for you. And and it's like that, just see if it can take you, see how far it can take you, and then stay with it, and sometimes it's over time. And it's, as they say, energy flows where attention goes. And so, if you say, okay, wait, this created an opening. Let me see what happens if I stay with this opening. Let me see what happens if, like, can something start to open where I get a different perspective and where I make space for, as she mentioned that crack, like maybe some insights can come in through this crack, maybe something that can touch into the part of me that's waiting to be touched, that's waiting to just like have space to emerge, right? We're here talking about creating safety for the divine feminine to emerge. Like that little crack, as the poet Rumi says, the crack is the space where the light enters you. And so, like, staying with that opening, seeing if that light wants to come in and illuminate something for you and really create the space for that sacred part of you. And it's all sacred, right? I'm not trying to make separation there by any means, but just where that which you are seeking, that you are looking for, is like waiting to come forward and emerge and become a part of your conscious existence, to give you that return of hope, that return of like permission to wish, and so I agree, stay with it if you can.
I got to harken back to something though that Wadad said.
Mhm.
I call you Wadad, not Camilla, right? Camilla, because you keep being called Wadad.
Either's fine, but Wadad is my favorite.
Okay, then that'll be it. So Wadad, earlier on, you gave a full story about talking to CD, going in there thinking you were fully wrong because you did not like what you were being told, asked, how you were being handled, how you were experiencing this other teacher. And he said, there's nothing wrong with you. Basically, what you're perceiving is, whatever. So along with what you're both saying about hanging out in that high-pitched sound, there's another part of it which goes right back to what you said, Wadad. I'm not fucked up. These things are fucked up that I'm experiencing, and they do make me sad, and I don't know how to navigate that. I'm not supposed to, that I'm supposed to be okay with everything and peaceful, but I'm not, and I don't know how to undo it or change it or move it. But there's a part of me that's simultaneously struggling with, it's not me. It's not me. I'm stuck. I'm the one who can't move the rock in my own head. But these two things at once, because it's not just listening to that sound and finding me. I'm already here, and I'm battling with there must be something wrong with me. I'm stuck, depressed. And the reality, there's a reason to be unhappy about my circumstances. So can you just speak to that too? Because it's not just going to that high-pitched sound and hanging out there. It's dealing with the battle of, I'm very depressed. This isn't me. This isn't what I want. And that being authentic.
I've always found that healing springs forth from honoring the present moment. And if the present moment is like, I'm really unhappy, what's happening for me is, like everything you're listing, then you start there and you honor it. And using sound, using healing, using movement, its purpose is return. Is to return to the remembrance of who you are. The remembrance of who you are might be that you're getting cleaned and you're in the deep struggle, and you can't change that. And at the same time, what is the deep truth of who you are while you're in that station? And so the any kind of practice, is like, we have a practice that I use in my spiritual tradition we call the remembrance. And there are times that I'm just trudging through rocks and I can't make the struggle go away because it's cleaning something inside of me. And I'm doing the practice even though I'm uncomfortable. And um, and so we have this teaching that says, life's going to be up, life is going to be down. How can I find the completion or the perfection, even if it's up and even if it's down? So if for a moment that sound is giving you a respite of remembering something deeper, even though you're struggling, to me, that's the point. It's the return instead of getting caught in outside stuff. But if you're in the station of purification and it's hard and it's uncomfortable, like you're saying, no matter what practice you do, you might still feel uncomfortable because something's being cleaned. As soon as I got that teaching, I could kind of go, oh, excuse my language, but my life is a shitstorm right now. And this is my station. What can I do while I'm here? Like my analogy is like, well, I'm in the fire. I might as well pull up a lawn chair, pour a cup of iced tea, and just surrender to this moment. But sound, movement, singing might just give you a moment to go, this is a rough patch, and this is who I am. Underneath all of this, you are perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. And you're still unfolding, and you're still discovering more and more and more. And the pressure, my teacher used to say, how do you clean gold? You put it in the fire. And I was like, okay, but can we ease up a little bit? It's like crazy. But to me, all of those practices are meant to help you return and remember who you are, even if you're in a strong station.
Okay, and I think as you said more, but I think what I'm partly taking away is everything I'm experiencing is real. It may be a period of transition, or it may just be like, a shitstorm. But doing the sound isn't for me trying to escape or turn off the other things I'm feeling. I'm not trying to escape or turn it off. I'm merely inviting light in, wisdom in, energy in, a blessing in at that moment. So that's what I'm taking away.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
You, Carol.
Good work.
Okay. I'm going to go to Kelly. Kelly, you want to come on screen? Okay.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
fine.
are. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
One of the things that I realized as everyone's been talking, and even when we were going through the first meditation, is that just how many aspects there are to safety. Like
Mhm.
safety is more than just one thing. You can't define it by a few words. There's emotional safety and spiritual safety and physical safety and
Mhm.
intellectual safety, or whatever thing that applies for you. And that there's kind of a foundation, I think, for all safety. But then, like I found through the meditations that each aspect of safety for me also requires different care.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I am learning is to acknowledge that and recognize that and be okay with it, and then give myself permission to trust and give myself compassion while I'm learning. Uh, Something that was said just a couple of minutes ago is, healing takes practice. And I've not really ever been in a space um, that I could do that. And as an adult, in that way, I'm like a kid, who has never been taught. And so I have to undo a lot of, I have to relearn
Mhm.
a lot of perceptions of myself and beliefs about the world in order to really get that safety. And for me, it's, if I when I get to a place where I can trust in who I am and how I am in each moment, regardless of what it is. If I'm crying, if I'm not crying, if I'm happy, if I'm ambivalent, then and be okay with it. That for me would be true safety because I trust in myself. And I have supports and I have friends and I have family and all those things, but I'm the person who I go to bed with every night. I'm the person who I wake up with every morning. So
Mm.
if I'm not able to feel that fundamental level of safety, then no one else can give that to me. They can give me pieces of it, right? There are people who can help keep you safe. But until I believe that it's possible and true, I will never be safe. And I, I I'm realizing that now, um, today. So I'm gonna cry a little. Um, but I think that's really important. That's a big aha moment for me.
Mm.
Um, who some of the things that I use, like when I don't feel safe or when I feel, 0 to 100 dissociation, I can dissociate it like a 99, like a champ. Um, and I use like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. 5 things you see, 4 things you touch, just go through all your senses.
Mm.
Um, and I also recently learned take a deep breath in, breathe everything out until you can't breathe out anymore, and then try to scream. You
Mm.
can't. And for me, it has like, if I can remember to do that, then it's kind of helped me to come back to the present because I laugh at how ridiculous it is that I can't scream. Um, and I also, something Carol was saying earlier, and just feeling safe, and it might be fleeting or in a moment. There are a lot of times where I've had to tell myself out loud because it's different when I think it as opposed to when I speak it. So I have to tell myself out loud how I'm safe. If
Mm.
if telling myself I'm okay, I'm safe isn't working, that I have to tell myself how I'm safe and just look at something or just give myself one thing. How am I safe? And then that, because I have a very logical brain, so that tends to help. Um, in the guidance, I struggled a bit to get past safety and get beyond, um, because there's always a part of me that's on alert. I'm working on it, but it's not gone yet. But the first time we went beyond, I got a glimpse of myself in like an open meadow. I was in really dark forest, and then I was in like an open meadow field area, um, and it was nighttime, but the sky was really clear, and I could see the stars. I didn't see the moon, but I could see all the stars, and I was very calm. Like I felt rooted. Um, and to me, that was a sign of a nod to my shadow work that I'm doing through therapy and through meditation and, other things, that I'm acknowledging more of that part of me, and that the stars for me represented the glimmers of light that I can see because of the work that I'm doing.
Mm. Yes.
Um, and then when we went beyond, sorry,
Okay.
I felt the warmth of the sun and light and kind of life. Um, all at once. And the message was to trust myself and that I'm enough. So sorry.
Good work. Good
Oh,
work.
and I have to work on saying sorry. But it was really, I haven't ever felt that way before, so thanks for that. And I had a floral smell, just light.
Hmm.
And so I think that I may have a new spirit guide, so I'm gonna have to check into that one too. But yeah, that's it.
Such
Thank you, Kelly.
so beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. There's something, that's been coming up about, I think we get conditioned. And Heather, did you want to share? You had your hand up a minute ago. If you do, you can come on camera and unmute yourself, and I'll share this piece. Okay. Because I think we're conditioned to think that there's something wrong with us if we don't feel like everything's okay. When in reality, when things are not okay, we're not wrong to feel unsettled. We're not even the trauma responses that our body goes through are like the innate wisdom of the body keeping us safe.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're broken. If we feel unsettled, or even if we've had something happen and then been gaslighted and all these things that, or told you're not supposed to act that way or get over it or whatever, those things that happen, it's like, it doesn't mean, a lot of times, like, we are not the ones wrong. When we believe in a way that the rest of the world does not believe, but we know, it's like we've awakened to something inside of ourselves, and we know, like, wait a minute, this is my truth and this is what feels right for me. But the rest of the world, it seems like, is saying I'm supposed to be this way or believe this way or act this way. And I feel like, gee, what's wrong with me? It's not you. It's a lot of times we're awakening to what is true, to what is real, to what is right. And it doesn't match what the rest of the world. Maybe it just means that the mass collective that's, bombarding you with the messaging, the message machine, hasn't awakened yet and aligned with what is true. But just because you have and it doesn't match them, doesn't mean you're wrong. Sometimes it means, like, you are in your truth, or your body is having some sort of response that is of the innate wisdom of your body. And it means you're right on.
And that is your safety.
Yeah.
It's guiding you to your safety. We all know, like, ooh, I got a bad vibe. That's your safety, right? Your safety is like, we should not be in this restaurant right now. I got a bad vibe. Nope, not that hotel. Got a bad vibe, right? So that is exactly it. Sometimes, like, oh, this is my guidance system trying to keep me safe.
Yeah. Okay, Heather, would you like me to bring you on? I'll give you the unmute cue.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it won't let me add you to the screen until you turn your camera on. So
Okay.
it's up to you if you want to.
Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Okay. Right, there you are. Yeah, there you
are. So I'm feeling very weirdly shy at the moment. That's not typical of me. I'm an actress, but
I'm so glad you're here. I just have to say, I'm so glad you're here. Heather's a very old friend. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Heather.
Nice to meet everyone. And yeah, and and thank you for sharing. I wanted to, so when Carol was talking, I was like, yeah, like I get that because at the beginning, there was a part where we were talking about, I think, energy, Mastura. It was like energy in your body and energy outside of you, or physical energy and conscious energy. And I was like, oh yeah, energy is everywhere. And my physical energy was completely contracted. So I was like, wow, they are not aligned. So that was the first thing. I was like, oh, okay. And this is like minute one. I was like, uh-oh. And then we did the whole exercise and I kept hearing, so this is why I relate to Carol. I kept hearing like divine sacred body, like your body is divine and sacred. And I was like, what? Come on. Right? Like I was totally like doubting what I was hearing. I was like, come on, that's BS. I'm like, because I have a tendency to want to please and be good, and all those things. So I was like, you're just being a good student. And then we did the high pitch sound, or I did a high pitch sound, and I was like, whoa. And like everything started shaking. And I could feel like all the energy in my fingertips, which I typically bring my hands because I never feel safe. Like I am constantly on guard. And I could feel like the energy vibrating in my hands. I was like, what is this? And then I had this realization that not only was I taught that like my body was bad, like I was too something, right? Too voluptuous, too whatever, but also like my mind, my mouth, my eyes, my seeing, my intuition, all of that was bad. And I was like, no, it's all sacred. And all of a sudden I felt like I was growing like a tree. Like I felt like I've been hunching, I've been feeling like shoulder pain and I have chronic pain all the time. And so I was like, oh my God. Like I was just like, for a minute, I was just like, wait a minute. Like, I feel like I've done so much work and it sort of like all kind of came together. But I do have that same sense, kind of like what Carol was saying, and I'm not commenting on you, but in relation was that like, I want to be authentic, right? I always want to be authentic with what I'm feeling. I was like, is this real? And I just feel like, yeah, it's foreign to me, but it's real, right? Like it's, I started seeing myself like doing all the backflips I used to do and like dancing around. Everybody always saying I was dancing all the time. And I, like was always moving my body and had no issue, right, with it. And so it's weird to suddenly be like, oh, like I somehow took that as wrong, like that it was wrong. Or the fact that I could see things other people couldn't see, or that I could, speak things. I was always speaking the truth and it was never good, right? So anyways, I found it incredible. I'm still sort of processing. I feel extremely shy. Again, very weird because I'm an actress, but yeah, like just kind of shocked really that like I know that I'm disconnected. I'm always better in this space, in the energy space. I'm always better out there and I love to act and be not myself. But still, I feel like I thought I knew that, but I didn't know it in that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm trying it. Anyway, so I wanted to thank you for that. And also for everybody that shared before me, because it gave me kind of permission to share, So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm so glad you do share. I'm glad everybody, when you feel comfortable, it helps all of us move along. And you're speaking to so many things that so many of us women experience collectively. So I'm just honored that you felt vulnerable enough to share your experience. And I'm so glad it's given to you too.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, Wadad, would you like to, we're a little past time. Thank you for hanging in with us today. Wadad, would you like to just give us a close?
Yeah, let's close with sort of an invocation and a grounding and a rooting of what we received today. Um, the first thing I want to say is just the deep gratitude for all of you that are here. This is one of those subjects that we could probably teach on every single week and create a collective healing for us as we move along. So I encourage everyone to not stop. Keep doing what is supporting you, is helping you, reaching out to your systems of support, reaching out to us if you need that, using any of these tools that we give you. They're a little different each week, but this one, I felt like when we said we were going to do this, it just feels like we're scratching the surface. It's such a
Yeah.
common theme. So I really encourage everyone to, join us for the 12-week course, join us here every Wednesday, reach out and get the support, no matter who it's from. Because when we can clear some of the fears, the rising up is going to just be undeniable. There's a Chinese proverb that says, when sleeping women wake, mountains will move. So we are here for you to support you every step of the way, we hope. So let's just take another deep breath in. Breathe out with whatever sound is in your heart. Whew. That was mine. And another deep breath, bringing all of the energetic gifts that came in for you tonight. Feel yourself anchoring them into your body, into your heart, pulling your energetic body all the way down into the earth, feeling your body and your spirit integrate. Then the next thing I want you to do, this is another little secret I'm giving away. When I do my voice healings, I want you to listen to your heart, listen to your body, all of it at the same time. And I want you to hear the sound. What is the sound your heart is making? What is the sound coming from within? And I want you to give it the breath support and just make that sound. And then feeling everything re-grounding into your body. And if you are someone who can sense these things, let the light in. See the beautiful, brilliant, eternal light growing within you. Let that light expand and surround all around you like a cocoon of protection that is the filter everything has to go through. As you move through your night, as you move through your day tomorrow, as you move through your week and your month, that cocoon of light is always surrounding you. What's your light look like? Is it full of gold flecks? Does it have pink flecks? Is it powerful and sturdy that's just a mirror everything bounces off of? Re-anchoring everything that came in, once again, listening to your heart, making that sound, feeding the light around you. It's always there, whether you can see it or not. It's always protecting you, guiding you. You're going to tap into it a little bit each day. And before we finish, I want you to just within your own heart say one thing that you're grateful for from coming together here tonight. And then make one commitment as you move forward into the exploration of safety. one thing you're going to commit to nourish that. And one more breath in. Nice sigh on the way out. Thank you from my
Thank
heart
you.
so much for all of your sincerity and love here tonight.
Thank you very much, Widad, for that. It was beautiful and a beautiful process today. And I just put those links in the chat again if you want to click on those. I don't know if it lets you copy them. If you do, please, if they do, please do, or you can click on them and then copy them from your browser. You can book a consult with any of us to, get additional support. And if you know that you want to join us for the masterclass or the 12-week program, you can go to that pre-launch program page and go ahead and look at what your options are there. If you have any questions, reach out to any of us. We do hope that you'll join us. I just really grateful for you being here and connecting with you today. Thank you so much. Honored to support in any way that we can.
Take care, everybody. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. We don't know what the subject is yet, but you can still come.
Yeah, we had. I had an idea come in during this one, so we'll talk about it and watch your email. I'll send out an email either tomorrow or Friday, letting you know what the next topic is going to be. And I think we might want to kind of hang in this space for a little while longer before we move to that next piece that we had talked about before. So, but I had an idea on that. So we'll talk about it. Stay tuned to your email.
Awesome.
All right. Good
Thank
night.
you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.